the thing that you have all been waiting for, the final walk around of the 105. Here they go. Oh, that's nice. There's one thing I can't do confidently on a car, it's this thing.
I don't have a problem so far. I'm just thinking about where we can run this harness.
It's currently 12 o'clock in the morning, but we have a roof, a console in.
Look at that, dude. That's sick.
That f***ing horn, dude.
The build is 99% done. It's right there. There's just like the little things that we need to keep tweaking, which we will talk about in this walk around. But this is just going to be a culmination of absolutely everything that we have done to this car and the people who have helped out along the way, future plans of what's going to change, everything. This is just a wrap up of the whole build, and I'm very excited to hear what you guys have to say about what we've done. This is my 1998 FZJ0105 series. If you couldn't tell from the code there, this is the 4.5 litre petrol. It's got 302,000 Ks on it, which is pretty decent considering that this car is 26 years old. It runs and drives absolutely amazingly. The guy before me took really good care of it, and he got a lot of the maintenance done right before I bought it. So the thing's just been running perfectly. It is auto, which we do have plans to work around that, but the manual 105s and or diesel were just way too far out of my budget. And if you couldn't tell by the color, I needed a burgundy 105. There was absolutely no other way I could get any single other color. So all I was looking for was cheap, low Ks, a burgundy. I didn't care about anything else, and I think we bought one that was very, very untouched. And also our friend from Extreme Auto Detail, he got the panel buffed up. That's why it looks as good as it does. The paint did look not amazing when I first bought it, but I knew that it had a potential, and it's come up absolutely perfectly. Anyway, let's get into everything that we've done to this car. Okay, so the first thing, obviously the statement piece of the front end of this car is the Offroad Animal Toro bar, which we just got finished up and putting on. This is the first in the world of these bars for the 105, and I'm very, very excited to just be a part of that R&D process and be able to say that I kind of had a hand in that, in just the push of getting them to make the 105. But I think that they absolutely, I knocked it out of the park, just beautiful. We've got enough lights to kind of make nighttime a daytime. If you couldn't tell, I'm kind of afraid of the dark, which is kind of a theme that you'll see around the car. So we have 3 5-inch bodies. We have a spot and 2 floods, a 22-inch Offroad Animal light bar, and their pod lights as well. And then we also have a 12,000 pound winch, which we just had up in the stock box. So that's good to get it off of the racks and also into a build. I was getting there. We have the staple item of every single build that we ever do, which is a GMA XRS.
You can't build a touring car without having that.
Genuinely, when you buy a 4-wheel drive, whether it's old or new or whatever, the first mod that you should do is comms, because it makes your 4-wheel driving experience with your mates that much better.
Definitely. Okay, so now we are going to talk about what's going on underneath the car. This is a very important thing to get right because it's what holds up your whole
the rest of everything
car.
else.
So it's a very important thing to get right. We've gone with Superior's 4-inch and 35 off-road kits. So this does,
Lovely.
gorgeous. So this does give us a 4-inch lift height and 35-inch tires, fully road legal in Queensland, and also the whole rest of the car, every single mod is fully compliant now, so this thing literally cannot be touched for a single thing, which is
Absolutely
just great.
epic. You can't build these big wagons without kind of having a decent lift and decent tires, otherwise it just looks dumb.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, it's all about the looks. If you aren't in love with your car, what's the point of owning it?
Yeah.
You need to be able to turn back and look at it and be like, that is epic. That is a good looking car. And I think that we've absolutely nailed it with this one. Obviously,
Definitely.
we've got the 2.0 remote resis.
That's just kind of the
4-inch
shock that
coils.
we use on it.
We use it for everything, and it performs beautifully.
Perfectly.
We've
Yeah,
got like
we've
the
got-
Hyper Philex arms, the billet arms in the rear, and just everything else that goes along with the kit. I just jump onto their website and just have a look. It's a very extensive kit, and we'd be here for half an hour if we wanted to talk about everything there.
Also, what's going on under the car? Harrops?
Yeah, so we got the Harrop E-lockers front and rear. That's a staple item. We've never really been into the air lockers. It seems like a lot more work than what it's worth, because the Harrops do a lot better job, and it's just 2 wires, job done. You don't have to have air lines and like an air compressor and all of that. So Harrop absolutely eats the locker game, for sure.
Has some power.
Yeah, so I like doing unique things, and this is one of those. So the boys at Art and Coatings did give us a custom bronze color on the P-Core wheels, and you can see they've got like the little black in the P-Core which looks absolutely amazing. And then we also have the Apex
valves, which we put those in my car first.
Yeah, like you were the first to do it.
The worst part about going off-road, I think, is
Airing up and airing down.
Is airing up and airing down. So when we build a car now, it is a heavy focus to make those 2 jobs as easy as we can. So now airing down is easier with this, and airing up is easier with what's going on in the back, which we'll show you later. Talking about where heavy air goes, what do you think about these? You like them?
I was originally leaning towards this all-terrains, but I feel like this being the tough tourer that it is, it needed the Mickey Thompson Baja Boss MTs. I think these are going to perform a lot better for the things that we do have planned for this car in the coming months, which is going to be epic. Obviously a 35, these are a metric size, so they're 315s. But their 315s are the exact same size as their 35s.
Yeah, so their 315/70 R17 up at Superior, they have a jig through 35. So this is the perfect.
Absolutely mint.
35. But
Moving on.
This is the first build that we've used.
Radius
4,
absolutely mint. Yeah, I feel like they make the best products for the 105. No one else. It's weird how the 105 is very untapped. Like, you want parts for your 80 or your GU or GQ everywhere. Thousands of companies make thousands of different products. The 105 is something that's it seems more untapped than a lot of other touring rigs, which is a little bit interesting. So Radius was one of the only companies that I could find with a Stano snorkel, and we do think that they do the best job of what they do. And paired with that is their airbox as well, which looks bloody perfect.
Here we have the Radius Airbox. This is more or less made for a turbo kit, so we had to make up a custom pipe to go to the NA intake, which wasn't that big of a deal.
There is plans for what's going to be going on in here. I'm not talking about it just yet, but that's when I say 98% done. We still got a lot left to do to this car. Also, what's going on in the engine bay is we have a mega life lithium battery. This thing cranks this engine so hard. It is
so easy.
It is epic, and it also has this little jump starter button. So if you left your lights on or whatever, and you come out in the morning and your battery's dead, I push that and it'll start. That's a big thing for a lot of people. I'll talk to you about why that doesn't mean that much to us when we keep moving back. Also, what we've got in this car is a full wiring harness I made by the guys at Helm. The harness is about that thick or so. and it runs from the engine bay all the way back into the cargo area and all that. So you look under the car, there's no wiring just jumbling everywhere, and everything's just like, you know, like a zip tied together. We thought about it, and we planned everything that was going into this car electrically, and then we laid the harness out after that. So really tidy job. Anyway, let's keep going.
Done. The big black platform up on top with all of the excess just bolted into it. With a wagon, you don't have room for big bulky things, so you need a rack. It's really just, you don't have a choice.
On utes, I don't like racks.
Yeah.
Wagons, you absolutely need them. You put so much stuff on top of them.
Yeah.
With utes, you got your tray and your canopy that you can bolt all of your things onto, but with wagons, you need a roof rack, and there is nobody else better in the game other than Rhino Rack. They've been doing it for a very, very, very long time, and there is no better product that you can get. And the range of accessories they have, it's astronomical. It took me months to figure out what I actually wanted to put on top.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Tons of room. But yeah, let's talk about what we've done. So once again, Ashton is very, very scared of the dark, so we didn't just do one bar, we did two.
Those are two 40-inch light bars.
Yes.
Because why would you have one when you can have two?
Plus it also just like looks sick, and it fills up that gap between the rack and the cart that's always there. And because of the twin light bars, air doesn't get under the rack. It doesn't make any noise in the highway, which is
perfect.
Yeah,
if you turn my high beams on, you have 8 massive LED lights that turn on, ranging from light bars to the little pod lights. I'm definitely going to be the leader of the convoys at night,
definitely
for sure.
Also have the Maxtrax Extremes up on top. You can't build a car without Maxtrax. Doesn't matter where you can put them. You're not building a touring car if it doesn't have Maxtrax.
I concur.
Obviously, got a big awning. We haven't built a car with an awning. Well, we don't do it often because we're always towing.
And honestly, I love it. I think, like, look at how tiny that thing is. Like, it's barely even there. And with their brackets that they have are 2 bolts, and I can just whip that thing off as fast as I want. Also, on the top of the Pioneer platform, I have 2 pod lights in the back, which I can use for a reverse lights, and 2 rock lights mounted on the angle on either side to use as the side
lights, plus also like camping lights, and they also sit under the awning, which is just great.
Which is perfect. And talking about the rock lights, just before I forget, there is 12 underneath this thing, which is too much. It's ridiculous, but if I'm building my dream tour, I'm doing everything that I want to it. We also have a Red Arc 180 watts solar panel on the roof.
Once again, with a wagon, because it's not, you got to use every bit of room that you can have, and the arse end of this car, there is room being used. Yeah,
for sure. This is a staple item in the wagon lifestyle. Not just a rear bar, a Kmart rear bar.
This is 100 and 105 in the series. This is it. You cannot tell me that you've never seen a 100 or a 105 in the series without a Kmart bar with a tyre or 2 hanging off the back.
Or your mum or your dad or your granddad or one of your
uncle,
mates, parents, uncle. Somebody you know has had a Kmart rear bar on their 4-wheel drive, and I think that they do the best job. They've been doing it for a very long time, and just look at it. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. We have another one of the wheels and tires here because we can't fit them under, because we have a Brown Davis long range, which is 175 litres, going from the factory 55 litre tank. So massive jump there. Massive jump.
Yeah, the range that we currently have on this car is about 1100 Ks.
1100, that's about a guess there.
Yeah.
What's going on there, mate?
So, because we got over 1000 Ks of range, there was no point putting extra diesel over here. So, what we did is we gave ourselves a shower. We actually gave ourselves 2 showers. So, there's a 12-volt jerry can shower unit made by On Tap. You just put the power in the back, hook up the hose, bang, you shower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
cheap,
it's
easy,
very
easy, simple.
cool.
There was no point trying to put a water tank in the car when we had
when you
all
have
this
those,
room here. So
yeah, and because they're black, I like they heat up in the sun, which
Yeah.
I think is just a very nice
touch.
a little touch. Surely that had to be accidental.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Definitely. Also on the back we have the rigid chase bar. You can see we painted over the third brake light because it didn't really do much to begin with. So now we've got the chase bar with all of the modes that we can change. It's also got indicators and brake lights incorporated.
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention the up on the rack too. Is it time?
I think it's time.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, it is.
The best thing about the older Landcruisers, tailgates, it's perfect. So this is my little interior area that's going on. This is where I am going to be camping out of, and this is something that I have put a lot of time. As you would have probably noticed, I just turned on some lights. These are my camp lights, so obviously when there's bugs around and when we're camping, we have orange, but when you need some extra light, I can just change those to white. What we've got going on here is a whole lot of electronics from Red Arc, paired perfectly with a draw company who we absolutely love, Goose Gear from Colorado in the US. They have supplied the setup here, and they, to me, you cannot get any better for your rear drawers, or your seat, deletes, or your storage solutions. I've never seen just something look so perfect. I don't know why every single drawer company covers everything with carpet. It's a 4B, it'll get dirty, and it is such a pain to clean carpet. Obviously, that's not the only reason why I chose this, but that is just one thing that really just ties all of this.
The draw height that we have chosen to go with in here is only 8 inches tall, but you don't really need any more depth than that. We were trying to keep as much open area as we could.
The reason for that is when you fold the seats down, at the 8-inch draw height, they sit perfectly, so you can lay like a mattress or whatever. As you can see, I kind of got the 40-60 drawers, which I convinced on, because if you've just got the 50 and 50, which most of them I do have, if you have an item that won't fit in the drawer, it'll never fit. At least with this, you've got a different ranges to put a different gear in. And also this drawer, I've cut down a little bit because our 100 amp hour helm battery, I just go behind the back there, and it just fits perfectly. And Treads storage bags, those will be my clothes bags when I go out camping. A very important piece of kit. When you are going out remote and going out camping and doing everything that you're doing, boating, fishing, hunting, or whatever, if you hurt yourself badly, there is a very high chance that you aren't getting to any
for a while.
To anyone who can help for hours. This is a personal locating beacon made by GME. If you pull the pin on this, emergency services will send the fastest mode of transportation to get to you, or whether that's a car or like a helicopter or whatever. They don't care. If you pull that pin, you have a chance of dying, and they will get to you as fast as they possibly can. I've also got my airbag man, just like the little inflation kit with a digital gauge.
We have the compressor and everything to do with air mounted over in here. On the base plate, we have a gauge, a outlet, and we also have these switches back here for the air bags in the back. So the 105 has a set of airbag man helper bags in it. So when Ashton's not towing, he can keep the car nice and soft, but when he is towing, pump them up, and the thing actually tows and good.
A couple more things that we've got going on. We've got a Goose Gear ridge slide. You can see that this fridge is a little bit beaten up. This is actually the one out of the FJ, out of the 49. So this fridge has seen some things. It's been to the US. This fridge has been on the Toyota booth at SEMA. It's just one little thing that I get to just carry along with me, which is absolutely epic. So yeah, that's nice and easy. And then you've got a little bamboo cutting board, which I can just lay on the tailgate. I prep my food all of that and stuff. That, like, the Goose Gear stuff is just absolutely a next level. You can't go wrong.
As we get older, we begin actually carrying these types of things, and when it looks this cool and it's not that big, why not just tuck it in your car? If anyone ever has a issue, you know that you're gonna have a pretty good chance of being able to help them.
I look at the labeling on that. You can kind of know your way around what's going to help you do what. The labels are absolutely amazing. There's a label here. So you've got your red for trauma, the blue for hygiene, the black for utilities, and the green for just information and general things like that. Definitely you need the PLB, you need your comms from like a radio, you need a first aid kit, and you need a fire extinguisher, which I've got in the front. Those are things that you absolutely must have.
4 things when you're going touring.
In a 4B.
That's what you need.
So I hook that to my roof console. I got that from Kaon. They make roof consoles for literally everything, and I think in a wagon it's one of those things that's overlooked, but you really should do, because it just makes the space so much more usable.
When are you ever going to pack your car to use that top like 8 inches in the roof? So you may as well just chuck in a cage, like jumpers, sheets, all of that. Chuck it up
and stuff.
Up the top. The main reason why
like a red arc inverter. Like that goes good up there.
That's the main reason why we actually put this in, is to make sure, is to have somewhere to fit the inverter. So we have the Red Arc RS3 1500 watt inverter, which is hooked up to the battery. Then we've also mounted the Red Arc Red Vision screen up the top. It was just the best spot to really put it, because we didn't really have room for it. So
the Red Arc screen is beautiful. Perfect. I was thinking about this since I first knew that I was doing this wagon build. I needed to have the Red Vision in the back. It's just so cool. All of the amps that you're drawing, like how many days until your batteries for that. You can program it to do all different things. As I say, in my cargo light, if I hold that down, it dims. Like, it's just stuff like that that is just so epic.
Now, the final two things that we have in the back, we have the Max recovery kit. This is all of our soft shackles, kinetic ropes, all of that. This is the safest recovery gear that you can get.
It's really hard to injure yourself badly when you've got things like this.
Now let's move to behind the back seats, which is where we've mounted all of the gear. That's where the brains of this whole car is.
This is the brains of the operation. As you can see, there's a lot going on here. A whole heap. Probably went a little bit over the top with the whole, like, you know, my dad owns a trailer, company. I could have just towed one of those, but I got excited, and the Red Arc guys know how much I love their stuff, and they actually gave me one of their first brand new prototype DC Alphas before Dad even did. So massive shout out to Red Arc.
Which is also the same thing that happened with my car, with the Rogue. Well, I got the Rogue for my car before Dad did, so I kind of think that Red Arc does like us more.
So the helm harness runs from the engine bay underneath the car on that side. It comes up in the rear quarter, and then it runs around here. You can see that's how big the harness is that runs underneath the car, but that has absolutely everything. There is one harness that runs down the underneath of the car, so helm, absolutely, I nailed that. And while we're here, I've got to give a shout out to Javid, who wired this thing up here. Absolutely, I nailed it. And there's a lot going on here, and I couldn't have done it without the help of him.
So we've got 4 items on the back wall. Got the Rogue, the BC Alpha 50. What we were talking about in the engine bay about how we don't really need a mega life. This thing has a button on it to jump from your second battery to give power to your main battery, so you can fire up the car. So the Mega Life battery we don't really need, but it was just there. We took it, we put it in. But this thing is a actual game changer for how a car or a camper can take power. We also have the shunts, so then the Rogue knows how much power is coming in and out. And then we also got a amp, which was meant to be a TX amp. MTXs helped us out on this build with the whole sound system, but we messed up and we blew up the MTX amp, and to get this build done, we couldn't find one of their amps anywhere to put it back in. So we got got a different brand in for now, but they will be getting changed over.
By the way,
Talking
that
about-
was on me. I put the positive on the negative and the negative on the positive and just absolutely fried the
glued it,
thing. That was
yeah.
completely on me. That's not MTX's fault or...
We also have their sub here, which has its own amp in it, so this thing thumps. It's probably
Yeah.
a smidge
was meant-
undersized for a wagon, but it just did fit in this area way too well.
This is the best sound system that we've ever had in a car, and it's fun to do, isn't it?
Talking about driving, I think that we move in there and get this episode wrapped up, eh?
Alright, the driving area where I spend my time. I am a massive fan of interiors. I think this is what you touch in the car. This is what you touch when you're using it. Like all of everything else that happens outside of the car, it makes it tougher, I look cooler, more usable. But this is where you have all of your time with your car. You need to make it comfortable and work for you.
Yes.
And I think that I've
Definitely.
we
have
absolutely nailed it. I'll just put this light up here. So the first thing that we'll talk about is the roof, a console that we have custom made with like the help from our mate Will, who designed it. This was meant to just be a very easy product to fold up in our little press over there. So you can see that there's a lot of fasteners and rivets in it, but as a prototype and just to get it, the concept up there, I think it works really well. Obviously, it's painted black, and I matched the roof console, so it kind of all just blends in. I've got another red vision in the front, which this does control all of my lights and my lockers, everything, and they are paired together, so I know my battery voltages as I'm driving, like how many amps I'm pumping in, everything along those lines. It's absolutely amazing.
Also up in the roof console, Ashton likes keeping the dash and this whole area as clean as he can, so he's trying to cram as much as he can up here. So we have the XRS and the XRS handpiece. Up in the console, we've got two rock lights that we're using as interior lights, and at night these things are bright as heck.
Yeah.
We also have a
Little button there, so we can just turn them off. I should say, if we're working on the car,
on the
and
car, doors are open,
doors are open, all of that, we can just
turn them off.
Which is very cool.
Nice and easy. We also have a GME handheld with a charging dock. This is something that we've never incorporated into a build except for Dad's Jeep, and it's a great thing to have when you're going down the tracks, because if you do need a spot, you can just hand this to who's spotting you. And Ashton also has a wireless phone mount for his phone, so he can charge with his phone up in the roof. Also, mate, what the hell is going on there?
This is my massive infotainment head unit. This is from AC Offroad. It's a full replacement panel, but this replaces your little aircon control dials here and puts them all right there in this massive air control unit thing, which is absolutely epic. But that means with removing those aircon controls and putting them in digitally, I have a massive 12-inch head unit to do whatever I want on. And that's why I don't need to have my phone on like a mount or anything here. I can have it just behind my head, because I've got all of my maps, the music, podcast, everything that I could want is all just on this one unit. I could talk about this also for half an hour. There's so many features in these things. If you want one, jump on to the EC Off-Road website and just have a gaze. It's an absolutely beautiful piece. I also have like a push to talk here. The microphones are just hanging out just up here. It sounds really good when I'm talking into it, so that's a good piece. And then also, if you just want to move your bum out of the car,
Okay.
we have some custom Razorback seat covers with the Patriot Games Twins logo in them. So those are the front seats, are the back, and this console cover. Okay, so that's a little bit of a wrap up of what I personally think, this is my personal opinion, is the best looking, performing, driving, most usable and most tourable 105 in the country. There's definitely a lot more things to come for this car, but for phase one of the build, I think that we've done very, very well. We banged this whole build out in about 3 weeks. Also, just going every night, every day at it. I could not be more thankful for the opportunities and from all of the companies who helped out on this build. I thank you very, very much. It's been an absolute honor, and it's just amazing.
It's been fun, but
it's been fun. And thank you for helping out.
Yeah.
Also, you've put in a lot of hours to this thing. I did that with like the GU. You did that with like the FJ.
I
did
think
with the
I made about
S15.
5 or 6 times more hours into your cars than you are mine.
Yeah, for
Easy.
sure. I for some reason I just do really big builds in it, and I just do it all at once. The GU's been more of like a evolution, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. But I think that's it for the wrap up. I think it's time to get out, get this thing on the eating tracks, get out, get it dirty, and just have some fun.
Man,
Catch you, mate. You.